What's up, guys? Let's get straight into this. So, I'm Jesse. This is my first video. Well, I made many videos on YouTube, but this is my first one with my new assistant editor. So, it's going to be really, really official starting now. So, let's get into something very important, right? So, everyone knows their sign. Everyone knows their, for the most part, your moon sign and ascendant, etc., right? What's so important, what a lot of people do not realize, is that especially when you have a stellium, like many planets in the same sign, or just, it doesn't even matter, right? Just regardless, like you can look at this for your sun, for your moon, whatever. Understanding the opposite sign gives you the key, the answer to the solution of the issue, of the problem that you might be experiencing with the sign that you have. Like, let's say the moon sign for you is Libra, right? The opposite sign of Libra is Aries. So in this video, I'm gonna get into every single opposite sign. So it's called an axis. So there's 6 axes, right? There's 12 signs. And I'm gonna explain how each sign needs to borrow from its opposite and vice versa, right? So let's start with Aries, Libra axis. Aries is a fire sign ruled by Mars. Libra is an air sign ruled by Venus. And they're very, very different. But one thing about opposite signs that I didn't mention in the intro is that it's the same energy, just the opposite manifestation. So think of it like on a spectrum, right? You have here Aries, here Libra. It's like this for everything, for every axis. So Libra, is more about depending on other people and relationships, and it's so good at seeing every side of the story, right? Now, when we talk about astrology, we talk about how there's the high and the low vibe of everything, right? Everything has a high and a low and a medium and every level in between manifestation. So I could have a Sag moon and someone else can have a Sag moon, but one of us might manifest the low energy of it and someone else the high. So with Libra, sometimes the low Libra, it's too people-pleasing and it's too much about other people and giving, and they have trouble with decision making, and very indecisive at times. Not every Libra, like remember, this is just like we all run into problems, and that's a lot of times the problem with Libra is also boundaries, right? Having their own back, saying no. So if you think about that, with a lot of Libra energy, you look at Aries, because Aries does not give a right? Aries is so assertive, and Aries is just gonna it's just gonna say it how it is, right? It's just gonna say it how it is, regardless of whether it hurts someone's feelings or not, right? Aries is not in the business often of caring, Aries, it's very powerful fire energy. It's like the most just masculine in the sense of this astrological word, not the gender, societal gender, when I say masculine, feminine, it's just this very energy, right? So it's super assertive, and Libra can borrow some of that sometimes to create boundaries and to have its own back. So that's how Libra, and also this is a very relationship-oriented axis, and I think of Libra sometimes can be a little bit too codependent, and Aries can sometimes be a little bit too, independent, or just not willing to compromise. So it's like, where is the middle ground in the two, right? And if you have, and the cool thing about this is that you don't even really have to have planets here. These are archetypal themes that will work for just in general in life, right? So, new tattoos. But anyways, so now, Aries, right? So we understand that Libra can really, help itself out a lot by borrowing Aries energy. But what about Aries from Libra? Well, what could the problem be with Aries? too much Aries or just Aries in general can be very rambunctious, it can be bullies. They can be bullies. So Aries, they can borrow from Libra by taking the very, very high diplomatic abilities, that diplomatic levels, just ability to be diplomatic that Libra is so good at. Libra is the sign of the person who can just be in the middle. People come, conflicting sides, they are the balance, right? Not Aries. Aries is like, sometimes Aries can be so spontaneous and angry. Not always, right? But like they can Aries energy can people who have a lot of Aries can they can react impulsively, and it's a very, very direct confrontational fire sign. So just imagine how someone with a lot of that could benefit from being a little bit more diplomatic, a little bit better. Since Libra is an air sign, it's good at seeing both perspectives. It's good at like kind of understanding, okay, this is how this person sees it. That's why they're such good negotiators. That's why Libra is so good in business and so good in networking, because they know what in marketing, they know what the other person wants. So Aries and Libra can be quite strategic, right? You have to give them that. So it's like Aries can chill out and look at how Libra is able to use diplomacy, tactfulness, understanding other people's viewpoints, and kind of bringing them together to achieve success. Because maybe Aries tries too hard to just dominate the situation and it gets them nowhere. So it's like, take that diplomacy, take that, that more Venusian calm approach. Because sometimes the Aries hammer is needed. Sometimes a more smooth Libran approach is needed. All right, next. So I'm gonna go in order here. Sometimes I don't do that. Let's talk about Taurus, Scorpio. Okay. So first of all, Taurus, Scorpio axis, right? This is a big one. Taurus is a sign that at its lowest needs to borrow, or at its lowest can be very much like stuck in the same way of thinking, not wanting to take risks, right? Now, I don't want anyone triggered and saying I'm dissing any of these signs. I'm saying this is like one manifestation. I know people of every sign combination. I've seen someone with everything. I'm probably approaching 2,000 readings at this point. So I've seen a lot, right? I've seen a lot of combinations, and I pretty much have seen the high and low vibe of nearly everything, and a lot in between. So Taurus, yeah, definitely can be very, very stubborn. It can be my way or the highway. It can be very fixed in its ideals and sort of afraid to take risks in life that might improve their life. But I feel like when I'm saying this, I'm talking directly to some Taurus people or people who know Taurus people. But yeah, basically, Scorpio is a sign of death, rebirth, transformation, of real risk and change. So Taurus, to take from Scorpio, needs to just learn to trust the universe and let go and allow changes in their lives, right? And these changes might feel very uncomfortable. Scorpio is a sign of deep psychological, internal, like really, really going within the self and doing the inner work, right? So this could apply to psychology, to like psychological healing, right? Where the Taurus energy could be too stubborn to want to make changes, and it can borrow from Scorpio by allowing itself to go deep into its emotions, right? To allow itself to go through that death, rebirth, transformation. Now, on a more mundane level, this could also represent life circumstances. Like, for example, let's say that there's someone who has a lot of Taurus who doesn't want to leave where they grew up, and they have like, an opportunity that's pretty amazing, like a new opportunity presents itself somewhere else, but so the Scorpio would be to take that opportunity, but the Taurus might be like, no, I don't want things to change, right? So it really does come down to allowing the self to go through this process of death, rebirth, transformation, which we know, if anyone knows anyone that's very, very Scorpionic, I want to move that, who has like a lot of Pluto, a lot of 8th house, whatever, right? They often, in kind of segueing to Scorpio, Scorpio people are very, very, like they understand the darker side of reality, right? And that's also one thing Taurus sometimes, it's ruled by Venus, and Scorpio is by Pluto or Mars, depending on what system you're using. I use Pluto personally, but teach their own. And yeah, so like one has to do with Taurus, everything that's nice, like this beautiful divine, like just very earthy. It's an earth sign, right? This very like, think of like a warm sunny day in Costa Rica. That's Taurus, right? And then Scorpio, it's just like the underworld, but it's like it's only through the underworld that we can find the greatest gifts. So that's sort of the journey, right? And this all can apply to any north node, south node, anything, right? I'm doing this completely off the dome, by the way, guys. So I like to improvise. So then on the opposite end, we have the Scorpios, right? So we understand how the Tauruses can borrow from Scorpio, but what about vice versa? Well, Scorpio is sometimes a little bit, especially people who have like South Node or just like a lot of placements that are 8th house, Scorpio, Pluto, they can be very, very intense. And sometimes the lower vibe of that is that there can be this unconscious liking, I guess you could say, of drama. Like it's like they sometimes can feel more alive when there's like some type of drama in their life, right? When things are too calm, not all, remember, not all guys, but when things are very calm, sometimes it's a little bit, I don't know. And Scorpio, so because it's so deep and so sometimes so serious and so sometimes because it experiences so much, it can experience so much darkness and it sees the darkness in humanity. It has a very good understanding of that, right? It likes the kind of undercover things in the world, right? The unseen. So the Scorpio, it's like the seer, right? It's like the mystic, but through being that, you see a lot of really dark things. So that can be very destabilizing. So Taurus, Scorpio can borrow from Taurus in many ways. One, Taurus is one of the most balanced, grounded energies in astrology, right? It's like a tree. So while Scorpio can be so all over the place, it's a very emotional water sign, right? So, and it's very much experiencing its own inner shadow a lot, right? Which is, part of the karma of Scorpio. And that leads to growth as a soul. But also, as you're going through this intense process, or these intense processes, you should try to be grounded, right? So like Taurus is very good. Like for example, like the Scorpio could borrow from Taurus by meditating, by going into nature, by engaging in the body, which is Taurus is so good at in the senses, the physical senses, to bring itself back to like a state of balance, right? And just overall, Taurus represents the present moment in peace, right? That's what's so beautiful about Taurus energy, is that it is at its highest level about peace and presence. And sometimes Scorpio can get so wrapped up in the intensity of so many different realms and all that it just needs to chill, It just needs to kind of relax, because if it can relax, the energy can change better, right? If it's always in a state of stress and always in a state of compulsion and you know, sometimes the low Scorpio can be very much about power, control, and like Taurus too, right? This is like an axis that has to learn, you know, how to let go of control, right? In general, that's like the key. If you have a lot of placements there, just in general, is to trust the universe and not need to control people or places or things and just let things happen. It's not saying to not manifest, but yeah, I think that is important for Taurus, right? So let's think here, or for Scorpio, excuse me. Yeah, so the physical body, coming back to the present, you know, Venus, right? So it's like Taurus, it's very good with like the arts, very good with like just enjoying life, right? Sometimes Scorpio can get because things are so dark, they can just only see the dark in certain areas, right? So that's what comes to my mind now. I'll add things later. Like if there's things that come to me later in the video, that's why I think everyone should watch the whole video. Even, you know, I'm sure people will only watch for their sign, but there's things that will be relative to you, even if you don't have these energies within you. But yeah, overall, like just this axis in general, Taurus, Scorpio, you've got to really, like, regardless of what you have, like, which, you know, if you have a lot of either one, like the thing in common is control and power and how you define power. And the low vibe is like power is like trying to control other people, right? Taurus, it could be a very physical type of control, and Scorpio can be a very psychological type of control, right? So, you know, when you let go of that, I think that's very, very important for the high vibe of either of these signs to emerge. And I'll make a video about the high manifestation of each sign. Maybe I'll make it after this if I'm feeling good. All right. So now we got Gemini, Sagittarius, a very, very, very interesting, very, very interesting one. So let's think about this. Gemini, Sagittarius. So this is Gemini, right? This is a sign that is ruled by Mercury, and it's an air sign. Sag is, and it's, you know, related to the third house. And then Sag is Jupiter, and it's related to the ninth house. So it's a fire sign. So this is like very much about knowledge, intellect, learning. So this axis is very related to that. Also to adventure, experience, right? Gemini, and by the way, yeah, so like some of these axes are more similar than, some of them are so different, some of them are more similar. I'll just say that, right? But yeah, so Gemini needs to, sometimes what can happen with Gemini is that it can be too all over the place. And this can actually go for both of these, right? Some of these will be, you know, like I said in the last one, for both. Being able to do this, like it's so much, there's so much versatility with Gemini energy, which is amazing, right? They can try this, try that, try this, try this, try this, but it can become very ungrounding and very, you know, if you start, like, if you're always starting things and never finishing them, you're not making progress. Sagittarius is a sign that at a high level is good at being able to take from Gemini, which is like the experience of everything, and cipher out what it really wants and turn it into grand truths, right? So if there's a lot of Gemini, right, it could be the case that, I guess on a low vibe, it would be like a lot of meaningless experience, right? Like where you're just like, because it's very important to have experiences, right? Like basically you want to have a good ratio of experiences, Gemini, and conclusions, Sagittarius, right? But you can only have conclusions from experiences. Just like in science, you can only have research, you know, data and you know, the actual studies from the data collection, right? Gemini is the data collection. when we go through life, we have all these like little events and conversations, and and then we use those to create our worldviews, which creates our truth, which then creates everything for us, right? So if you're too much in the Gemini camp, right, you can have too many of like these basic conversations that don't mean shit, right? Like they don't have any deeper meaning. They're just very much, you're like a little chicken running around without a head, like. And I'm not dissing Geminis. I love Geminis. I'm joking. I love every sign. But yeah, no, Geminis are very talented, very, very talented. Just look at the list of musicians, right? And artists, and just very creative people, right? But yeah, I've seen it a good amount where there's this curiosity leads them to so many different places that they just can't focus on one. And Sag is like, also has that potential, but they're better at it usually, right? Also, Gemini, yeah, so that's like on the kind of on the level of communication, I would say that it's like being able to tie your experiences together and create conclusions out of them. That's what Gemini needs to do, instead of just like always looking for new experiences. That's kind of my main point with that. And that same energy with conversation goes with philosophy and thought. It's like, how do I deepen my philosophical outlook, right? Sometimes Gemini, which rules, third house, it's really related to the third house, which is immediate surroundings. So think about like Gemini is like people, it's like the difference between someone who just travels around the city they're born in, and ninth house, Sagittarius, someone who travels around the world, right? So it's like you gain so much more of a worldview and wisdom when you're experiencing people from different cultural backgrounds than just people from your immediate environment, right? So that's one thing also, is that Gemini sometimes like can have like a fear, especially South Node, right? Which, because like with the South Node and North Node, you get like a very pure view of what the soul's, South Node, like what the soul is used to doing, and North Node, like what the soul is trying to get to, and they're always opposites, right? So South Node in Gemini is always North Node in Sag. So yeah, like a lot of times South Node in Gemini, for example, they, like international travel, it's just hard for them. I know a lot of them, even in my own family, and it's just like, I don't know, they travel a lot domestically, within their country or within their area, but when it comes to different cultures, it's like almost like hard, right? But then you have, and I don't like to talk about myself, but I'm a Sag moon right now. I'm in Peru. I live in Romania. I'm French American, half French, half American. So it's like, you see what I'm saying, right? Okay, so Sagittarius, how do you borrow from Gemini, right? And I've learned this one very, very firmly. And this is also like, I do a lot of karmic astrology. So a lot of what I say is very based on past lives, karma. That's how I view everything. But it doesn't matter for the sake of this video. If what your beliefs are, you can take it however you want to take it, right? So Sag can borrow from Gemini very simply, right? Because sometimes Sag is too dogmatic and too sure that the way it's seeing things and the way what it believes to be true, that's it, And sometimes they don't like challenge their beliefs enough, right? And sometimes they don't realize, they think, because they think like, okay, well, I've spent so much time finding all these truths, whether it's reading all these books, going to all these different places, right? And having all these deep philosophical discussions and just connecting with people all over the world, like geographically, but also in terms of like different types of thinkers. They can then like sometimes like create like this like this ego, right? This like almost like a philosophical ego, a wisdom ego, where it's like, I know more than you. You should listen to me. If you don't, screw you. That's like a shadow of Sag. And what they need to learn is, one, first of all, not everyone gives a shit about what you give a shit about. Two, like, everyone has truth at their own pace. All you can do if you really, really, really want someone to care about something or to learn about something is just plant the seed. You know, you can say something like say you're really into astrology and you have a family member that you understand their chart and you're like, they could benefit so much, but they just don't believe in it. You know, you just have to accept that that's just their journey and that you've gained so much through your study, through your learning, whatever it is, and that, you know, it's just unfortunate. You can have compassion for someone who doesn't get to understand these deeper reasons for us being here, you know? It's like, to me, it's just sad. Like, and I don't say that from a place of me being higher, better. I just, like, I wish everyone would listen and would give it a try, you know? But some people, they just don't want to. And, you know, like, I think that Sag, like, it can look for, like, Gemini, it could learn from Gemini when it just thinks it knows everything, and to understand that even the person who you might think in your head, oh, they don't know shit, they can't contribute to my life. Everyone's perspective can. That is a crazy lesson, and it doesn't even make that much sense. It sounds way more obvious than it really is, right? That everyone's truth is different. Everyone has a different truth. Everyone has a different path. And just because yours has more light, or what you would consider light or wisdom and refinement, doesn't mean that's because everyone has different karma, right? If we really want to get into Sag philosophy. So it's like, why would the Sag not listen to the person who's, you know, at the park, sitting on the bench, you know, just kind of chilling, maybe has slept there, I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm not saying like, you know, be safe and all, but like, okay, the person who might not be deeply spiritual, but maybe has other life experiences of value, right? Like maybe it's like someone who, I don't know, who was a vet for 20 years, or someone who, you know, just whatever, right? Like who, like, you can learn from every person. And the second that Sagittarius learns that from Gemini, because Gemini is so good at being curious and talking to this person, that person, this person, that person, that person, that person, the Sag can start to realize like, yo, like there are lots of different views. And then that's the shadow of Sag, is that the dogmatism. It should always be the best version of Sag is the more I know I know nothing, right? Not, I know so much, everyone should listen to me. If they don't, they're idiots. I've seen that. And full disclosure, when I first got into astrology, like I was an animal when it came to like trying to like convince people. Oh my God, I remember this one guy, I was in Romania at a music festival, and I was staying at this kind of crazy place. Is it bungalows? I don't even know. It was like a glamping type thing. And there's this guy there, and he was like a double Scorpio. I spent so many hours, and it worked, right? But so many hours convincing this kid about astrology. And it's just like looking back on it, the amount of energy I utilized was so much. But like there was this competitiveness in me as a Sag moon where I was like, there's no way I'm giving up, you know? Like, I'm not gonna give up. Like this guy is gonna, like he's gonna learn, because he was kind of doubting it, and then by the end he was like, holy shit, like, you know, he was freaked out, and it did actually work, and he started getting really into astrology, and like I haven't talked to him in a while, but I think it changed his life in some way, right? Not like because he was skeptical about it before, so that's like good, but then it's like I was forcing my opinion down that guy's throat, so it was just lucky that that guy was open, but like I don't do that anymore. Now it's just like, it's just so much energy, guys. We only have a limited bandwidth each day. So yeah, that's kind of, everyone do their own thing there, you know? All right, so halfway, let me have some water, guys, all right? Just a second. Go to my brain. Okay, part 2, or second half, halftime. So now we have, after Gemini, Cancer, Cap. This is one of the most massive ones, right? Let's start with, so Cancer and Cap is super karmic. If you have a lot of planets here, a lot of times you are, you know, the karma in this lifetime is very heavy. It's very related to gender, male, masculine, in astrology, female energy, masculine energy. Even though they're both, you know, Saturn is, or Capricorn is a Saturn ruled earth sign, and Cancer is a water sign ruled by the moon. Cancer represents divine feminine, and Capricorn, being the only Saturn ruled sign, is sort of like, even though it's like earth, so water and earth are masculine, air and fire are masculine, or I mean, water and earth are feminine, air and fire are masculine. Even though Capricorn is earth, it's still masculine in that sense because Saturn is the father, right? It represents like this like grandpa, strict grandpa energy, right? So yeah, this one's huge. So there's a lot to say here. So Cancer is a very sensitive energy, right? You know, ruled by the moon, sometimes Cancers can be very tied. I mean, they're very tied to their emotions, right? And they can make a lot of decisions based off of their emotions, right? Which isn't. They can have very strong emotions, and then you know, it's like sometimes a little bit hard to manage, right? Because they feel so much, and you know, everyone's heard like the stereotype, which guys, I don't say these things, but like, you know, like the crybaby Cancer or whatever, you know, like there's negative stereotypes of every sign, right? With Cancer, like I never would call it crybaby. I've seen some brave Cancers. What I have seen with Cancer is the following. I have seen, it's the symbol of the crab. And when the crab is hurt, because the crab is so emotional, it crawls back in its little shell, right? And I've seen this a lot, and it actually hurts to think about, not personally, but just people that I love who have Cancer, and not Cancer like that, but who are Cancers or have Cancer in their chart, and who have had such trouble allowing themselves to be vulnerable again after being hurt, especially in love. Now, Capricorn is not the best, not the best role model for being open like that, for like reopening themselves up. But what I can say though is that, you know, Cancer being that emotional, you know, and sometimes some of the pain, it's kind of like the Aries Libra one, right? Where it's like sometimes some of the pain that Cancer goes through can come from being the nurturer that's always helping, that's not really saying no. Now, this isn't always the case, but sometimes Cancers, because they're so empathetic, can lack boundaries, right? Just like Pisces, just like, you know, Libra. So, yeah. And when you are like, you know, the nurturer like that, yeah, I mean, it's just like the sign of Capricorn, Saturn literally is linked to rock. And it is the sign that rules boundaries. Capricorn, planet / sign, Saturn and Capricorn. So it's like Saturnian people who have a lot of Saturn are naturally very good. Like if you know any like big Capricorn stellium people or whatever, like they are so good with boundaries naturally, right? It's an earth sign. Like they are set in their ways. Like they have, like we'll talk about them in a sec, but you know, they care about their success and they want to really achieve. And they've overcome so much because it's ruled by Saturn, the planet of restrictions. So I guess what I would say, like, not to be rude, Cancers, but like, it's almost like Capricorn's like, yo, like Cancer's here, Capricorn's here. Cancer's like, oh, I'm hurt. Like, this happened, this happened. Capricorn's like, hey, do you understand what I've been through in life? Do you understand, MFer? I don't know if I can cuss on YouTube. Usually we cuss. But like, do you understand? Like, it is way crazier than any of this BS you're going through right now. So get up. Like, I've been dealing with restrictions my whole life, right? I've been dealing with I always say it's like 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. And then you get to the Saturn return and it gets better as a Capricorn, usually, right? Or with a lot of Saturn aspects too, hard aspects. And then Cancer can be like, yeah. And then Capricorn's like, listen, like, learn from the experience, right? Lessons, Saturn, and have stronger boundaries next time. You know, you have to protect that beautiful heart, Cancer. And yeah, and I think that's like kind of how Cancer is like the sign that rules the home, the internal life, the emotions. I think that on another level, and this is very important too, so Cancer is like the 4th house IC, Capricorn's the midheaven, 10th house. So it's like, this is also like representing kind of like with Aries, Libra, the axis of career and home life, right? Feminine and masculine energy. So the right balance of these two signs is what is your balance of your masculine and your feminine? What is the balance of your dharma? I don't like saying career because 10th house MC, it's not always about career, right? Between like your external life and your inner life, between your home life and your outer life, right? What is like, is there one that's are you giving way too much energy to one? I think you should try to, obviously like it's different for different people, right? If someone is like 10th house, Capricorn, sun, moon, like obviously they're going to be meant to, North Node there too. Like obviously they're meant to like really experience a lot in that career, dharma, outer world domain. But like for a lot of us, it's like there should be a balance. And even because, even if you have that configuration I just outlined, you still need foundations, right? And that's the thing about what Capricorn can give Cancer, is Capricorn represents, even though Cancer is the foundation of the chart, emotional foundation, Capricorn is the physical foundation, but it also is, in this physical world, you need foundations. So like in relationships, you need to have relationships that have solid foundations, right? It's like when you're building a large structure, there needs to be a good foundation, because if a storm hits, it needs to survive, right? So Cancer needs to like understand that and learn that from Cap, right? To take its time with things and to, be able to like really have its eye on its success and what its goals and its ambitions, and not just like give that away, right? Like, for example, sometimes Cancer people, they're very family oriented often, but then the question sometimes karmically becomes, how much are you, it's like the example of like the mother who gives everything away, right? Gives like she's like an amazing painter, but she just gives that away because she wants to be, because she's the mother, but she never gets to experience herself as the painter, and she's like the next Van Gogh or something. It's a crazy example, but like, so it really does come down to, to that, right? To being able to kind of balance those two out. Capricorn, this one is very obvious. So Capricorn, especially Cap moons, but like, not too good with emotions, right? While Cancer is so good at usually it's the moon sign that's the best at meeting its own emotional needs. Capricorn is the worst, right? You have the moon in its detriment position here. So so basically like it's not, but like just in general, Capricorn can sometimes be way too hard on itself, and sometimes it can lack self-compassion. And by looking at the opposite sign, and it can be way too obsessed with like career, work, workaholicism. It has to be perfect. It has, putting all their energy into that area of life. And sometimes if they were just to look at, like sometimes they need to balance that out with their emotional inner life, right? With their family life, with, by always working, you can actually be holding yourself back from maximum success, right? It's not always like just the amount of hours you put in is going to equal how successful you are. You need to get inspiration and have balance in different areas. So that is like the epitome of too much cap would be the person that's just like working like 80-hour weeks, if that's like crazy, like 80, like crazy hour weeks. And, they just, that's all they care about is their success, right? And, they've also become a little bit cynical, because Capricorn energy, like I said, it's ruled by Saturn. They usually, that's why they're so successful, is that if you have a lot of Capricorn and Saturn, you usually come from a restrictive background where you have to work very, very hard coming up, right? And it's not always like just like everyone that with Capricorn is born poor. No, it's like there's restrictions show up in different ways, I know plenty of very wealthy, who grew up very wealthy Capricorns, and the restrictions came in different ways for them, right? Like, for example, I can think of several who just had parents that were very like, you need to get the best grades, you need to be getting into the best college, you need to, have your career path laid out, do this and do that. It's just a lot of pressure, right? And then, so by leaning into Cancer, which represents the emotions and the divine feminine, they start to feel their emotions, and then they can actually create a life that's has more meaning to them, right? Because like on its own, Capricorn might be doing something just to make other people happy, or a low vibe Capricorn thing is caring about what other people think about them too much, I've noticed. Like really, really caring. Like a high vibe Capricorn thing is wanting to really, really work hard and do something for the world, that's beneficial. And they're the builders, like, so it's not like there is a place, it's not like evil, it's not like business is evil, like it's not like the entrepreneur is evil. No, it's not like the person, like a lot of corporations are messed up, but it's like, we can't have this a 0-100 attitude about all these types of things, So like Capricorn is the person who's so consistent. And that's another thing, kind of going back to Cancer, that it can take from Capricorn is that consistency and that work ethic. Because sometimes Cancer can sell itself short a little bit, right? And not believe in itself enough. Capricorn, it works very, very hard, but it might overwork itself and not understand its emotional needs. And then when it doesn't understand, when you're working in a way, when you're living in a way where you're not in line with your heart chakra, and you don't know what you actually care about, and you're just doing everything for money, or everything for success or for power or for the feeling of building and growing something, like, is that really success? Because you might wake up one day and realize that none of it mattered. So, yeah, that's kind of that. Okay. Any other things about that one? None that come to mind. Let me just drink a little bit of water real quick, guys. Yeah, I mean, Capricorn just really needs to, it really is, it's that balance. It's like, so where are you at? If you're overworking and you're not getting family time, you're not getting emotional nurturance, it doesn't have to just be family. It could be, just your home life, your inner life. Are you nurturing yourself? Are you nurturing yourself, or are you being nurtured? Capricorn, especially when Capricorn can get like really depressed, because Saturn can be very melancholic. When it gets really depressed, right? A lot of times Capricorn energy will just sit, and you can be in the same house as a Capricorn, especially Moon, a mansion. It can be the biggest house ever. you'll feel their depression if you have any amount of, I mean, I can only speak for myself and other people I've talked to, but it's very heavy. I think anyone who just like pays attention to it or like gives it a chance will feel it. And it's very, very heavy. And they sometimes have a lot of issues with asking for help emotionally, right? Like there's a lot of stuck energy because Saturn is rock, it's stuck. And the emotions want to be like flowing, like moon, like Cancer, the moon, right? Like water. They want to flow through you freely, you know, like that. And like Capricorn can be very stiff. So it's like, how do you turn that rock into water, right? You speak about your emotions, which is what Cancer, that's how Capricorn borrows from Cancer. Capricorn gets good at speaking about its emotions. It realizes, you know, I need to feel into my heart and just, even though it's so hard and I hate doing it, it's beneficial. It's like a workout. It's like you do it and you feel better after, even if it's like painful during it, right? And then the more you do it, the easier it gets, right? Like when you start running, 15 minutes sucks, but then when you're in shape, you can run an hour while you're on your phone or whatever. Okay. Moving on. So 2 more, Aquarius and Leo. I would say that, you know, with Leo, right? So you have Leo, which is a fire fixed sign. And then you have Aquarius, which is a fixed air sign, right? So Leo is ruled by the sun. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus in modern astrology, right? So I would say that for Leo, right? So Leo is very, it's a very passionate energy, right? It's very, very passionate. And, you know, one thing a lot of people don't realize about Leo is how sensitive Leo is, right? Leo represents the inner child, and it's fixed. So it's fire energy. So it's very like, it's fire energy that it's like a flame that can last, right? Like while Aries might be that instant massive flame, but it can go away fast, because it's fixed, Leo can, like, they can be very, very successful because they have the ability to stay for the long term and be self-starting. So, yeah, like the shadow of Leo Aquarius is like, it's a funny thing on my Instagram. I've done a few polls, right? Like just joking around. I'm very like sarcastic and usually joking and being serious in this video, but I'm usually joking. You know, what's the most like narcissistic sign, or like what's like people talk a lot about like the Aquarius God complex, like, and guys, I have a lot of Aquarius and Leo, so I can talk about this, and I don't have God complex, but like it's funny. I did a poll, like, you know, who's like which one is more, I think I said narcissistic, or has like more like can be at its lowest vibe more narcissistic. I always have to be very careful with my words to not act like, you know, because I have my best friend is Aquarius, and you know, I have a lot of Leos that I adore as well, and I'm very Leo myself. So, and Aquarius, Venus, and Mars. But like, you know, it's usually pretty. I think I've done that twice, and I think Aquarius won. The Aquarius, it's like the Leo narcissism that's more obvious, and then the Aquarius God complex that's more subtle. And people always voted for the Aquarius, so that was funny. But yeah, so basically, I would say that it's more about the elements here. Like Leo is so passionate, and sometimes it can get, like, that passion can get the best of it. It can just what's the word? Like that passion that, like, it can just get, you know, they can become too passionate about something, right? While Aquarius is like, they can borrow from Aquarius because Aquarius is so cool and level-headed. Like Aquarius is the best sign when it comes to strategy. Like, well, okay, you could give like Aquarius, Capricorn. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. What I would say is that Aquarius, they stay cool under pressure usually, right? A lot of them. And of course, there's so many different placements, and, you know, it depends on what you're talking about: Sun, Moon, Mars, Ascendant, right? But in general, just the energy, it is more detached and able to stay kind of more cool, right? Which has its advantages and disadvantages, especially for partners of the very Aquarians. You guys will see in my videos that I have a bone to pick with Aquarius. No, it's all fun and games. But yeah, like I think Aquarius is very, very good at being able to stay level-headed during tense situations. So yeah, and like sometimes like the Leo can on a low vibe display itself and like need attention. And I think that it just kind of needs to tap into the Aquarian ability to see like the road less traveled, right? Because Aquarius is so good at knowing how to take the road less traveled, how to just be, both of these signs, like this whole axis is about your authentic self, right? Leo, it's more through the inner child, and Aquarius, it's more through the future, Uranus energy, right? Like it's, like I said, air sign with ruled by Uranus, fire sign ruled by the sun. So it's like Uranus is about just the inventiveness, the road less traveled, etc. Right? So sometimes Leo as a fixed fire, I think it can look at Aquarius like if it's too set in its ways. You know, sometimes I think all fixed signs can be stubborn, Aquarius also, but Aquarius can also be very, very, it's just like an alien energy, right? Very good at thinking outside the box and like very cool, very, very cool with being the weirdo. That's why I love Aquarius so much, is like they are very cool with being the weirdo, being the one who's different. They just don't care. They're like, whatever. I love that. I love that energy, you know, of just like, I'm doing me and I'm cool. I'm not going to follow trends. I'm not going to do what you humans are doing. It's like, they're like cats. They really, and this is like more about Aquarius women. Like, I don't know that many Aquarius men, to be honest. Like, I have a few friends that are Aquarius. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. And obviously I've had a few, several clients, but like, I would say the Aquarius I know is like, I know so many, I've known and know so many Aquarius women, like it's gotta be like 95 to 5% or 98 to 2%. Like it's that much, maybe 99, shit, probably not 99. That'd be crazy to know that many Aquarius. Yeah, there's no way that's impossible. Whatever, who cares? The point is that like that aloofness, that ability to kind of separate emotion and separate its ego, just all that and make the decision. Sometimes Leo needs that, right? So I think also Leo, so besides the need, sometimes like it has that need for like that validation and being seen as like special, unique and all that. I would say like it's like like it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like if Leo is like it's just more obvious about it. Like Aquarius is just they're just like they can be like more self-aware, I guess you could say. Not all the time, but they tend to be very, very, very self-aware. Uranus, it's like about downloads, and a lot of times you have Aquarius who are very, very, I'll say the word psychic. I know that like intuitive, right? They can just get lots of like different downloads. So, yeah, I would say that, being able to break conventions would probably be like the big thing I think Leo could take from Aquarius and stay, cool and collected in situations and not have its ego attached too much to that, right? Because like Aquarius is cool with disappointing people. Like if it goes against what they value, they're the water bearer, right? They will go the opposite. They will take the road less traveled. They will walk that road alone if they have to. You know, that's why, you know, even though it's a very social sign, Aquarius, right? It's like the most mysterious sign. Like, we don't understand these people because like they're cool with being loners, but they're also super, super good socially, right? It's a sign that rules, you know, it's linked to the 11th house, which rules friends. And, you know, Leo, it's a sign that's ruled the 5th house, which rules authentic creativity. So like that goes to my point with Aquarius to Leo. Well, Aquarius sometimes can be so separate from their emotions and from their, like, sometimes they can try too hard to stand out, right? Sometimes. Now, when I say that Leo, high Leo is like the inner child, right? It's like the person who has embraced their inner child. They have this gregarious, fun, laughy energy, right? And it's interesting because Aquarius, it's ruled in traditional astrology by Saturn and in modern astrology by Uranus. And I find this super interesting because I've seen this duality in Aquarians, right? And it's actually crazy because like I've seen like older, like I have 2 grandparents that are double Aquarius and they were way more Saturn Aquarius, you know? Like they were not. It's almost like the synchronicity of the discovery of Uranus, right? I don't know. That's another topic, right? But like I know that happened before, but you know, kind of it being like big in astrology. I don't know, just the archetype. But whatever. That's probably not anything here, neither here nor there. But the point is that Aquarius sometimes needs to go back into their inner child and learn to play and learn, you know, that innocence and you know, like, you know, Aquarius loves the fact that they are that one-off, that one unique version of them. They are their creation, and both of these signs love that, right? It's like I said, it's about individualization, the process of you finding yourself separate from societal conditioning and everything else. So I would say, you know, the passion that Leo has, like the warmth that Leo has, that it brings to social encounters, you know, like just the presence that it can have. I think that Leo or Aquarius sometimes when it can be too cool, too like, you know, I wish I had my sunglasses, just, you know, chilling in the corner. That wasn't very cool, but, you know, like it can borrow the warmth of Leo and look at that and say, you know, it's great being all Aquarian and all chill and all that, but maybe having, you know, maybe smiling, you know, maybe smiling, maybe, you know, like allowing myself to play a bit, especially the very Saturnian aquas, right? That are like, I'm telling you, I know aquas who are like legit the same thing as Capricorn. It's crazy. They are so workaholics, such workaholics, and they need to loosen up, you know? Yeah, it's like, of course, the Aquarius one is going to be the head scratcher because, like, what the F is Aquarius, you know? You know, it's very much linked to the future and to kind of the unexpected. So I think, like, speaking of the future and the unexpected, Leo is also very good at being present, right? It's here now. It's this is me, I'm Leo. This is why I love Leo so much, because Leo is, this is me, I'm Leo, what's up? You like me or you don't, right? Kind of like how Aries was, but Leo more in like a way, right? And it's very powerful. It's the heart of the lion. It's a courage, you know? Leos have that courage, and, you know, they can be, yeah, very, very great leaders also in a physical way and in a present way. And I think that sometimes, like Aquarius, it's like such genius energy. Like, I know so many brilliant Aquarius people. I think that's probably why I'm so fascinated with Aquarians, because they think so different, right? Like, I would say and I would never ever say like there's a sign that's the smartest sign, right? I think I like Sagittarius and Aquarius because, and Pisces, because they in Scorpio. I mean, there's a lot. I like a lot. And like, you could have like a lot, like your, different planets, different signs with aspects, right? Like you could have your Mercury and whatever, if it's conjunct Uranus or even square Uranus or opposite Uranus or anything, sextile trine, like you're gonna have like a kind of Aquarian energy, right? So it's like, it's a lot more. You really need to, I would suggest getting a reading with someone like your boy right here. The link will be in the bio of this for getting a reading with me. It's an amazing experience, but I won't talk about that right now, but leave some info in there. But yeah, like honestly, just Aquarius has to, sometimes just get out of that future tripping, that just, just get into the present, and that's how it can learn from Leo. And because Leo is the solar energy, the sun, it does have like, this very big personality, right? You guys know Leo risings. So it's like they can kind of come together in a way where like, Aquarius is like this cosmic download machine with Uranus, right? Where it just has all these ideas. And Leo, it's just like kind of the king, the ruler, right? That sits on the throne, the lion. But like, I think that, I think both can run into trouble in different ways. I think that like Leo, like, yeah, their ego obviously can kind of lead them into great energetic trouble when they start to think that like, start to identify too much with it. The thing about Aquarius though, is that Aquarius is very, very humanitarian, right? Like they always care so much about animals and causes, and but then in relationships, it's a different story. And it's not that they don't care, they just need a lot of space and freedom and distance, like because they're just so different. They're like cats, guys. If you guys have had cats, like that's literally how Aquarius are. I am a PhD in Aquarius studies, if that's a thing. It's not a thing, but I feel like I kind of understand them a little bit. I mean, I've had a lot of experience. So I think also what can happen with a lot of Aquarius is similar. So this is like the shadow, and I've seen this too. It's dark. They can think that their personal truth is the absolute truth, right? And they can really like when I talk about God complex, guys, I'm telling you, Aquarius can literally think on a deep internal level that they're better than other people. I'm not joking. I swear. I'm not saying this is a common thing. Like I think Aquarius are like this. No, like I've seen it. With Leo, I feel like it's more childish usually. Like it's just like, okay, you're showing off, but like you're just insecure, like kind of joking. But like, it's just like a lot of times when Leos are really, really showing off, it's like, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of, I'm not going to use the word cute, but it is a little kind of cute. It's just like a kid, just like, hey, look at me, And then, but Aquarius, it's like, yeah, I'm just way smarter than these people. Yeah, they think this. Ah, God, they're so dumb. That's the shadow. So it's like, Aquarians, stop being so cool. Stop trying to be so cool and look at Leo's warmth. Look at Leo, how they're able to actually, have relationships that are kind of normal. I'm not going to go crazy on Aquarius right now, but, just learn from each other. Learn. You're not, you are a human, even though you think you're not, you are a human. And, I think both of these signs can definitely, struggle. I think that both can have like the potential of like being too much about me. So I would say for anyone that has a lot of energy, both of them, lean into your inner child, Leo, lean into your unconventional self, Aquarius. But then if you've done that and the process of doing that has brought you to this incredible creative place, which it usually does, do not allow, like I'm a good example of that. I have a lot, like these two energies. It's like my biggest axis, right? Like, do not allow that to get to your head, you know? Like, it's like you're blessed by source, God, whatever you want to call it, to have these types of energies, right? And like, I've also seen it because it's fixed. It depends on the whole chart, right? I've seen it just people with this be so stuck in their way and so like they just never change. I can think of one of my clients' parents who had like all Leo Aquarius and whoof, just a really, really interesting person, and someone who let's say has created a solar system for herself that is impenetrable and completely delusional. So that's where you got to watch out. So yeah. What else can I say about that? Okay, last thing I'll say is like Leo, you know, it's more individual. Aquarian, it's more group oriented. So the Aquarius sometimes, you know, even though it's a sign of individualism, it's, you know, linked to this kind of collective. It sometimes can benefit a lot by having some time, which it does do very well. As I've said, you know, it's not bad. They can be big time loners, but just that principle, right? Of not, if it's that type of Aquarius where they always have to be with, you know, with the group or whatever. And then with Leo, but I don't see that much, to be honest. With Leo, it's like, you know, fifth house, right? So it's like being able to work together with other people and not have to be the boss all the time, right? And then one could actually say with Aquarius, maybe it's like okay for you to be the boss, right? Maybe you've done, you know, especially with the nodal South Node Aquarius, like maybe it's time for you to step into positions of power. Like maybe you are that. So maybe you do, you know, need to actually, like, instead of just thinking it, do it, say it, be the boss. If you know it so well, like, you know, and I'm not being passive aggressive to Aquarius, I'm really saying, like, especially North Node there, like you're, you know, North Node Leo, like you've done your time as working for the team, being a team player. It's now time for you to step up and be the star. Okay, let's move on. So that was the only one where I just opened my phone. I was like, yo, I need some ideas, but barely got any. But anyways, so yeah, that's the one that's the toughest. Last one, Virgo Pisces. I just had this redone the other day. It was so bad before. But yeah, so Virgo Pisces is a big one, one I know very, very well. And what I'll say, Pisces, water, you know, Virgo, earth sign, ruled by Mercury, mutable energy. Pisces, water sign, ruled by Neptune or Jupiter. Neptune in modern astrology, Jupiter in traditional. So what I would say is that, and I say this all the time actually, Virgos is all about organization. It's, you know, it's very like, you know, the whole Virgo kind of stereotypes. Oh, you know, like we're gonna go on vacation, we're gonna go eat dinner at 6:32, and then we're gonna be done, and we're gonna have dessert at 7:08 and 12 seconds, and yeah, we're gonna plan our activities, and oh my God, no, don't, like this area is so dangerous. I'm just like thinking about my mom, who's a Virgo, before I went to South America, which it's like, it's good. And this is a very good example, right? Very worried about me going as a Pisces sun who just goes wherever, right? I worry, like Pisces is like, I'll worry about it later energy. Like everything will work out. I trust God, things will work out. They have to this point. And Virgo, it's like, okay, but there are lots of like very physical details you should know about, you know? The low vibe of Virgo, right? Which I love Virgo, by the way. So don't ever throw that ish at me that I don't like Virgo. And I keep doing this because I am looking at my tattoos. I don't care what you guys think. I'm a Leo rising. I don't care. They're all brand new. And it's my first video I've made with them. Not all of them. These are all old. But yeah, anyways, Virgo. Virgo is low energy. Virgo is the warrior. I say this all the time. There is always a million reasons every single day that you can worry about the future, that you can worry about something happening that day, that you can be negative about something that day, you can be anxious about something that day, that you can, anything, right? Like, because Virgo, it's very intellectualizing, it's thinking things, it's very, and it's good. It's good to have that. If you're just full Pisces, you're screwed. You're gonna end up, it can be bad for the over Pisceans, right? I mean, I've had my fair share of life lessons, right? Yeah. Because it's like Pisces is just like sometimes a fish that's just flowing and they're just like lost in this ocean, just, okay, I hope I find somewhere cool soon. I hope I find home. Okay, I'm pretty lost. Okay, it's just like the fish in Finding Nemo, the one without memory. Yeah. Is it called Dory? I don't know. That fish is cool though. But yeah, I think that Virgo can learn from Pisces. And this is a very powerful one, right? And I think each one applies to everyone in the sense that Pisces is so good at trusting that everything will work out somehow. They don't know how, but they just know that it's the last sign. It's like the sign of the mystic, right? Also, it's like the drug addict and the mystic, right? You choose, right? But I would say that you can block yourself as a Virgo so much when you're thinking so logically and so you're not allowing yourself to dream. Because Neptune rules Pisces, Neptune is about the imagination, inspiration. It's about dreams, right? So it's like Pisces people are the most dreamy people. I'm sure if you guys think of any Pisces you're like what world do they live in, right? Their head, like when I grew up, they called me in French Jesse Pierre. It's my full first name. Head in the sky in French, right? Tête en l'air. So it's like that's what I was called in third grade because I just was daydreaming all the time in class. And yeah, and that's very Pisces, right? But then Virgo, it's very on it, and that's what I love about Virgo is that oh man, and I think these signs work really well together in relationships. I really do, because I think Virgo is they love that Pisces has this ability to keep them inspired, because Virgo is also a very spiritual sign at its core. I mean, it's an opposite energy. It's the same energy. So but Virgo sometimes can lose that belief, right? A lot easier than Pisces. Not always. Some of the most spiritual people I know are Virgos, but keep going. So Virgo, yeah, they can really go off the rails with their mental, what's happening in their head, right? Now, like I said, it's good to be prepared in life. Virgos are very proficient in making lists and organizing their routine and knowing, like I was about to say a second ago, the Pisces might just okay, I'm just gonna order this food, whatever. I'm just gonna drink this tap water, whatever. And the Virgo would be no, don't drink that freaking tap water. There's all these chemicals in it, and don't eat that food. There's all these chemicals in it. They're gonna give you cancer. And that's or the Pisces goes and gets sick, goes out, eats some street food in Bangladesh, gets sick, and then goes back to the Virgo, and the Virgo is you idiot. And then just creates this magical stew filled with all these beautiful, earthy, fresh vegetables that they've they know for a fact where they're from. It's just, they're so smart, they're so good at noticing all the little details that matter in life. That's why I really like to have Virgos around me, because it matters to have those people. And if they're the type of Virgos who are the type I like, they're not actually the stereotype of the warrior, right? Yes, they can get in their head very easily, but it's mutable energy. I say Aquarius and Virgo are the two most misunderstood signs. I'll always say that, because being mutable as Virgo means that you can actually go with the flow pretty well, right? It's the other mutable signs are Sagittarius, Gemini, and Pisces, and then Virgo. So think about those three: Sag, Pisces, Sag, Gem, Pisces. How crazy are those three? And then Virgo, right? Like Mr., Mrs., like clean, proper Virgo, Like, no. Virgos are very, very different one from the other. Pisces, you'll never meet two Pisces that are the same. I'll talk about that in a sec. Like, it's the last sign. It's not even a sign, really. It's just like a collection of the 11 other signs. It's the last sign. Yes, there's traits that unify all Pisces, but no two Pisces are ever the same. Like, you really have to look at the moon, ascendant, Mars, all that stuff. Pisces are literally chameleons. They're just very compassionate. But that's why it's such a confusing sign too, right? And yeah, I guess I would add Virgo, Pisces, Aquarius is the three most confusing. But yeah, so Virgo, it's like they just need to learn. They just need to not worry so much. They need to learn that they need to like always look at like if you have a lot of Virgo or just like you're in your Virgo kind of place of overthinking, look at times in your life where you were very much in doubt and remember, when it just worked out somehow, right? That's Pisces energy, right? Like, remember how like somehow the situation that you thought had no solution, that you were stressing so much about, it just worked out. Or this thing that you thought mattered so much and it happened. And then 2 months later, you just didn't even remember it existed, right? So it's like perspective, right? And that's kind of the Jupiterian element of Pisces, right? Is that it can have cosmic perspective at its highest. It can have, like Sag, it's like the big perspective also, right? But like Pisces can have this like collective unconscious perspective. And, but there's a lot of potential, like it's tough, Pisces. Well, yeah. I'll come back to Virgo. Pisces, although it can have that, massive, as I said, like enlightened understanding of all that there is, can also, like I always say, it's not my quote, that the mystic and the drug addict exist in the same waters. It's just that the mystic learns to swim in them while the drug addict drowns. And that is such a good metaphor for Pisces, because Pisces is Neptune, which is like the perfection, right? And this world is not perfection. So Pisces, a lot of times, especially when they have trauma or like come from a difficult background, they will become very self-isolating. They will create dream imaginary worlds, and they will use escapism. And a lot of times that's drugs, alcohol, but it could also be something beautiful like music, creativity. Is Pisces the most creative sign? Maybe. It's definitely, it's the most amazing imagination, right? But like, I don't like to say best, most creative. I mean, you have like any sign can be creative, right? Like, let's not go there. Like, just look at a list of big artists and you'll see every sign represented, So I would say with art, it's just a different type of creativity, It's just a different color of art, of music. If it's music, it's a Virgo creator, it's gonna be the Virgo, but like everyone has so many different types of planets, of signs, it's more complicated. But anyways, and there's a lot of aspects that create artists and stuff like that, but asteroids, fixed stars, capiche. Okay, so Pisces, obviously, it's like I said, it's like the fish that's like, it's like, one fish that's going towards God, one fish that's going towards the material, or like two fish going in the opposite direction, so it's like, there's a lot of duality, and it's also horrible with boundaries, right? Pisces, they always see the best potential in people and usually get screwed over. So they have to like, learn from Virgo to be more perceptive and to see trends and to not live in this fantasy world all the time, right? So it's really like one is trying to be more in the real world and less in this fantasy world a little bit, and the other one is trying to allow themselves to dream a little bit more and not be so in the physical world, if that makes sense, right? So yeah, Pisces, because it's like this very like just out of this ordinary, out of this universe energy, it lacks any sort of balance, right? And a lot of times when you have Pisces, especially men or men in today's world, Um, you know, I see a lot of Pisces men who have gone through trauma and they weren't able to, it's a feminine energy. So you need to be able to talk about your emotions, right? Same goes for like, you know, Cancer and Scorpio men too, right? So it's like when you can't talk about your emotions in the society, it just, yeah, it can just get really, really bad. I think a lot of serial killers are Pisces. And why is my voice delayed? It's kind of delayed. That's weird. But yeah, anyways, I think so. Pisces definitely needs to look at Virgo and say, okay, I need to make lists. I need to go to the gym. What grounds me in my physical body, right? Because Virgo 6th house, it's like so good, like I said, at having that routine, of having that go-to when it comes to its everyday life. Pisces can just get lost, and because they don't plan things, they just can kind of be screwed, you know? Like Virgo is so good at planning things that they have that path to the top, you know, they succeed. Pisces, it's just that energy. Sometimes the energy, like it's all gonna work out, doesn't really work, you know? Like to achieve greatness in any realm, you have to work hard, right? And I'm not saying that work is the only thing that gives you greatness. But everyone wants to find what they love, right? Everyone wants to find love, and whether it's through their work, through relationships, through whatever. And Pisces represents the universal love for the divine. But does that mean that every Pisces has that? No. Because in between that door is trauma often. And Lord, do the Pisces feel the trauma hard. And because it's an energy that lacks energetic boundaries, Pisces can take on a lot that's not theirs, especially Pisces moons and, you know, just in general. So Mercury's can take on the thoughts of others, right? It's crazy. So it's like they need a lot of alone time. And that comes from looking at Virgo, which is an earth sign. So earth signs are naturally good with boundaries. And using that and being able to say no, right? Being able to look at this perfect like lover that comes you know through and say, hey, I need more time, or hey, like you see a red flag, like no, I'm not down, you know, or like this isn't working, or you know, those are the kind of things. Like the more practical, learning to be a human, like that's why Pisces and Virgo work. Like Pisces teaches, or like this, Pisces teaches Virgo how to be an alien, and then Virgo teaches Pisces how to be somewhat of a human. So give me a second. Let me see if anything else comes. So yeah, just on that axis in general, it's really just like asking yourself the question, if I'm too far in the Virgo, am I allowing myself to dream enough? Am I allowing myself to believe that everything is possible and that I live in this universe that's abundant and that is just, things just work, you know, and I can dream and I can follow my dreams and, you know, but like I always say Pisces would be the one that would be like, have this amazing idea for a screenplay, but then when it comes to actually executing it, they might just be like, all right, nah, you know, like they might just forget, you know, they might just forget, and or they might just not have the confidence. I mean, or the organizational abilities to have the step-by-step basis of like, okay, I have a brilliant idea for an invention or a screenplay. That's Pisces, imagination. Not that Virgo can't be super creative, they can, but like Virgo, like Pisces would need to borrow from Virgo in that situation to create, like step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this, step 4. And just knowing that to get to where you want to get to, there's a day-by-day, somewhat of a day-by-day process, right? But I would say the balance is like, If you're full Virgo, you are obsessed with that day-by-day process, which maybe takes away from some of the flexibility of being able to enjoy life and do things that are a little bit off the beaten track that might lead to some greater exposure and greater experiences and greater awareness, right? And vice versa, right? If you're too Pisces, then you're gonna lack the steps. So long video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments your reactions to all these. Like I said, we all are a mix of so many different archetypes, and I'm just curious. You could literally think about this even if you don't have any planets in these signs, right? And you can just think, how am I with this archetype and this, or with this axis? How am I? Am I too much on one side, too much on the other side? I think that there's, regardless of, I think a lot in astrology is universal. I think that a lot of it represents the human experience in general. And of course, we each have a different experience. So, parts of these videos are gonna hit differently for different people. However, I do think that there's a lot of value in being able to understand the entire spectrum, all 12 signs, all 6 axes. So thank you so much. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know any other videos you guys would like me to make. And if you want to book a reading with me, it's all the info will be down there. All right. Ciao.